Hey everybody, so we're here with the 2019 Civic Si, and this time around we're going to be autocrossing it again, where in the last video we raced it completely stock with the stock tires. But now we want to answer the question, what happens when you put good tires on the Civic Si and take it to autocross? So most publications, when they do autocross with press vehicles, they just use the stock tires and drive around and make determinations on how the car handles based off of that. But what I want to do is I want to kick it up to the next level, and I'm going to give this Civic the stickiest street tires that are out there. So these are the Bridgestone RE71Rs, which are about as extreme as you can get for a street tire. And the other thing is these are 20 millimeters wider than the stock wheels and tires. So I have my snow tires on right now, but compared to the stock summer tires that it came with, 20 millimeters wider and much stickier compound. So I'm going to get these swapped out. So here we are at the track, and I'm ready to head out on my first run here. Unfortunately, I had my gauge cluster set up for fuel economy and not the brake and throttle inputs, which I was hoping for. So we'll see how efficient I am on this run. But this will just give us an idea of how it does on my first run and how quickly I can get used to the car. Overall, the course and the car felt pretty good. There's a few areas where balancing the throttle is really important. So with these better tires, the car is more capable of turning and putting down power at the same time. But it's still possible to overwhelm the tires pretty easily, so it's something that I'm still trying to learn to manage. But the car feels much better on these Bridgestones than it did the original summer tires. So that was just the first run there. Let's get into another one where I still have my gauge cluster set up and I actually managed to look at the gas and the brake and just see how the car responds to the different inputs. And then we'll go and we'll look at a fast run to round it all out. Basically identical time-wise to my first run. This was actually the first run in the afternoon, so my fourth run. But you can see there's a couple of areas where I'm still trying to understand how to give the car gas coming out of a corner. So you can see that a couple of areas where I'll give the car 100% throttle and then it doesn't respond right away. And then there's a couple of other corners where I'll float the throttle a little bit, and then when I go to hit the gas, the car shoots off. And so it really just depends on how much I can manage the throttle coming out to keep the turbo spooled up. So there is definite lag with the car that I'm still just trying to get used to here. You can see in this corner I tried to left foot brake and gas at the same time, and it really didn't work that well. So maybe something there in the future, but a lot more practice required there. So we'll go to my last run, which is my fastest, just to see how it compares to the previous ones. But unfortunately, at this point, one of my cameras had died, and my speedometer camera, which had been working pretty well up to this point, actually flew off while my wife was driving. So I didn't really hear the end of that one. She was pretty frustrated coming back. But let's see how this one goes. So I actually managed to shave over a second off throughout the day, and I thought when driving, I thought that run felt pretty sloppy, but it actually turned out, looking at the video, to be pretty clean and tight, and I was able to kind of string the course together and make it flow better than what I thought I had. So it worked out really well, and all just came together on that last run. But there's a couple of areas where I was surprised the car on stock suspension with these tires is actually lifting a rear tire, which I wasn't expecting with how front-wheel drive cars come pretty tame from the factory. And you can also see with the stock suspension that it's rolling quite a lot, actually. So I was surprised looking at the video from outside of the car just how much roll there actually was. So this is where I hope that putting a thicker rear sway bar for street class in the rear will help to control a little bit of that roll and get the car rotating just a little bit more on corner entry, which will help set up for a couple of trickier spots in autocross. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this car. I like having power for once. And in stock suspension, completely stock, it does pretty well for itself. I'm pretty happy overall. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.